DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for February the 22nd, 2021. This was the post-Elimination Chamber edition of Monday Night Raw as we get closer to Wrestlemania 37 in Tampa, Florida. We kicked off the show with a recap from the Raw Elimination Chamber match and the aftermath with The Miz cashing in and shocking the world by becoming WWE Champion. Tom McCarthy with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Tom. First one of the evening says, did Drew McIntyre die or did he fall into parts unknown? To answer your question, he's biding his time. He was not on Raw this week. Spoiler alert. No Drew McIntyre, but I suspect he's just waiting for the opportunity to make his presence felt. We opened up Raw with Miz TV Champions Edition. We had balloons. John Morrison introduced Miz, who was wearing a suit. He talked about how for 16 years in WWE that he's been there, people have come and gone, but he's still there. He brought up names like John Cena, Batista, and Bobby Lashley. None of them, he said, could live up to his star power. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, like TJS, I am also watching you from the bathroom. All right, then. Maybe a little bit more information than I needed to know, Psycho Jet Black, but thank you. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, Psycho Jet Black is our resident comedian. He sends in super chats. He likes to be funny. Half the time he rips into Ricochet, and I'm sure later on, as I get to the third hour of Raw, he'll have something to say about Ricochet, maybe even sooner. But back to the opening segment. Miz said he told everybody he was going to cash it in, and he has the championship because he deserves it. We had the inevitable interruption by Bobby Lashley along with MVP. Miz was congratulated. However, MVP said that Miz forgot to mention one thing, and that was Lashley wrecked McIntyre so Miz could take advantage and win the championship. Miz said he was going to mention Lashley, and he did thank them for helping out. Miz then tried to take his leave. He did not want to defend his championship against Bobby Lashley. That was the gist of this whole thing. But MVP was like, whoa, 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 not so fast. It was time to discuss the terms, the agreement that they made, and the terms for Lashley helping out Miz. Lashley would get the first championship opportunity. Miz said that yes, that is true. However, Miz said that he did not say when Lashley would get the championship opportunity. Miz said he's a very busy man and there's just no time right now. Lashley then got serious and said that The Miz would have 1 hour to make a decision, to come to his senses and give Lashley a championship opportunity. By the way, it is TJS's birthday, so happy birthday to Tyler Joseph Smith, longtime No DQ fan, sometimes contributor, sometimes sending super chats. The one and only Caleb Jacobs with a $2.32 super chat. Thank you for that. Caleb says, confirmed, Bobby Lashley is the next WWE champion in my opinion. A lot of people are thinking that. You're not the only one, Caleb. Bobby Lashley on the biggest role of his career, I would say so. We had our first match of the evening. We'll talk more about Lashley in a little bit. We had Matt Riddle versus John Morrison. And by the way, for the comment in the chat about Jeff Meacham's birthday. That is March 1st. Make sure you guys send Jeff a nice happy birthday message on the 1st of March, coming up next week. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, seriously, Lashley is still rough on the mic. Well, that's why it's a good thing Lashley has MVP. MVP has been such a great asset in WWE, especially when it comes to helping get Lashley over as a monster heel. MVP has been fantastic. So we had Riddle in his first match as U.S. champion against Morrison. And before the match, we had a countdown clock shown. WWE really trying to pop that rating by having the countdown clock. You had Riddle dominating most of this match. He suplexed Morrison on the apron, and he got a lot of offense in. Morrison did make a comeback, hit the Spanish fly, but then when he went for the Starship Pain, Riddle blocked it and picked up the victory with the Bro Derek. Poor Morrison. Good match, but I just feel bad that Morrison's not really doing much of anything but putting over other people. Jeff Hardy falls into that category as well. We had a video package for Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is coming to Monday Night Raw. So for those of you that were wondering what happened to her after the Rumble, she's on her way. WWE just wants to reassure everyone that she is part of Raw and she will be around soon. Just a matter, basically, whenever they can find a spot for her. We had footage shown, and by the way, Colin Andrews says she should be on Smackdown. Maybe, but I think that you could put her against Asuka. You could put her against Charlotte Flair. There's history between the two of them. And if Nia Jax and Shayna break up, you can revisit Shayna Bazer versus Rhea Ripley on the main roster. There's some possibilities on Raw. We had footage shown from Bad Bunny on Saturday Night Live. Him and Damian Priest were interviewed backstage, and R-Truth attempted to be sneaky with his referee to try and win his baby back from Bad Bunny, but unfortunately for him, Priest saw right through it. Priest was not letting R-Truth get anywhere near Bad Bunny. And once again, we had Truth referring to Bunny as Bugs Bunny, but Priest was very upset and said his name is Bad Bunny. His name is Hank. A little Breaking Bad reference there. We had MVP backstage venting to Adam Pearce, and Miz said that there was nothing in writing. Pearce said, well, you're the champ, but you have to answer this challenge, and you have very little time to do so. But before we got to this big climactic answer, we had the New Day versus Retribution. Retribution, Mace and T-Bar. They hit the High Justice, their double team slam maneuver, and Ali instructed them to do it again. So they attempted to do it, but Woods managed to get T-Bar out of the ring, and then Kofi hit the tip, the Trouble in Paradise to Mace, and then hit another one to T-Bar and scored the pinfall victory. After the match, you had Ali get on the mic and he yelled at Retribution. He's fed up. He is tired of this. How many times are they going to fail him? And that was that. Dr. NXT Scorpio says, another L for Retribution. Just end this group. I feel bad for them. I do too. It is time to end this. Put them out of their misery once and for all. And get rid of the masks. Let them be themselves again. And going back to Bad Bunny, Hero Villain 5 says, can he just retire the title? I agree, man. Now's the time to do it. Daniel says Bad Bunny is going to be 24/7 champion for a long time. He might as well just retire the title. I'm totally fine with that. We had our big decision moment. Adam Pearce was in the ring. He brought out Lashley. Miz arrived, but Miz was not dressed to compete. Bobby Lashley was very upset about this. Miz said he needs more time, and he tried to make excuses. MVP was not having any of it. Miz said he needs at least a week to be able to give his best performance as WWE Champion, and that's when Braun Strowman showed up. Strowman said he wants the championship opportunity. And then we had Shane McMahon show up, and Shane got his piped in Shane O'Mac chants. And Shane basically said that Strowman cannot come out there and demand title matches. That's not how things work in WWE. Wasn't that what Goldberg did 2 months ago? Don't people do that all the time? Roman Reigns, doesn't matter. As long as you're a top guy, you can come out there and declare yourself for a world title match. Whatever. Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mike B. Says, the original T-Bar is greater than the other T-Bar. Well, thank you for that. And he says, happy birthday, TJS and good old JM, Jeff Meacham. Again, Jeff's birthday is next week, March 1st, but happy early birthday, good old JM. And make sure you guys follow him. Head over to nodq.com/Jeff. That'll take you to his Twitter page, and you can check out the Jeff Meacham Network. And make sure you guys subscribe to the No DQ YouTube channel if you haven't already. youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Turn on notification bells so you get updated when there's a new video. Mr. Dobby 33 with a $7 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Says, I predict Lashley takes the title and it's McIntyre versus Lashley at WrestleMania. I agree with you. It seems obvious, but I think that's the way it's going. And we'll talk about that more as we get to the end of the show. David Estevez with a $2 super chat says, Strowman looked stupid not mentioning Goldberg. Well, of course he's not going to mention Goldberg, you know. He wants to be able to be his own man and not use somebody else to get what he wants. But then again, you know what they say, sometimes guys like Strowman, they have more guts than brains. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, TJS. The birthday boy says, my name is Asac Schrader, and you can go F yourself. Again, another Breaking Bad reference. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, would Miz be better booked if he had John Cena's muscles? You could say that for like 75% of the WWE roster. Hell, maybe 90 to 95% of the roster. I think pretty much anybody in WWE, if they looked like Cena, they'd be pushed like Cena. Let's be real here. But anyways, back to the segment here. A lot of people thinking it's going to be Shane versus Strowman at WrestleMania. Again, another segment with Shane and Strowman. I guess so. But anyways, before we got to the potential of Shane versus Strowman, we had more with Lashley. And basically, Shane McMahon turned down Strowman's demand for a match. So Strowman said, okay, how about a match with the number one contender, Bobby Lashley? Shane McMahon agreed to this. And a match was made for the main event. If Braun could defeat Bob the Lash, then next week on Raw, it would be a triple threat match. Miz defending against both Lashley and Strowman. Strowman was satisfied as much as he was going to be, and then he made the mistake of turning his back to Bobby Lashley. Lashley gave him a chop block, went after the knee to injure him before the match. And that was set up for the main event. We had the Lucha House Party versus the Hurt Business in a tornado tag team match. We don't see these too often. I like them better than your traditional tag matches. Tornado match where everybody's in the ring at once. Why not? I like the tornado matches. We should see these more often. MVP was on commentary. Hurt Business pretty much dominated it. We did have Dorado make a little bit of a comeback, but in the end, Benjamin hit Dorado with the pay dirt and picked up the victory. Marquand 1976 with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Says, who has a bigger hole? WWE storyline logic or Nia Jax? Hurt or happy birthday TJS. I just saw HB and I thought of Hurt Business, but yeah, it's happy birthday. Probably when she got hurt, Nia Jax's hole might have swelled up a little bit, but now I would say the WWE logic hole is definitely bigger. But then again, I'm not going to investigate that too closely. We had Damian Priest with Bad Bunny against Angel Garza making a rare Raw appearance, but he did get a full entrance. And it wasn't a total squash match either. Garza got some offense in. He threw his pants at Bad Bunny, and he kicked out of a broken arrow, and he even gained the upper hand for a while, but then he got distracted by Bad Bunny. He started taunting Bad Bunny. Priest took advantage of this and won with the move that is now known as the Hit the Lights. They got rid of the Reckoning. I guess because you can only have one Reckoning on Raw, and Mia Yim is called Reckoning, so you cannot have a finisher named Reckoning as well. RIP Reckoning, the finisher. It's now Hit the Lights. And after the match was over, the 24/7 title jabronis like, what's his name? Drew Gulak ran down to the ring, and they tried to attack Bad Bunny, but Damian Priest, of course, took care of them. And Bad Bunny even threw Gulak out of the ring. So he got a little bit physical. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. I appreciate it. He says, is the Hurt Business ever going to turn face? They should become the Heart Business, spreading happiness and joy throughout WWE with the power of love. This is going to be really morbid, but I could only see that happening if somebody passes away and then they could pay tribute to that person and go face. I know that joke's in bad taste, but that's the first thing that I thought of. The Dark Order, how they're happy-go-lucky baby faces now, and they're spreading love and positivity. But yeah, bad joke. Very bad joke. And I apologize for it. It was the first thing that came to the top of my mind. Let's move on here before I get canceled. We had Randy Orton backstage cutting a promo, and he said he's not familiar with failure. However, he lost at Elimination Chamber. He lost the match last week to get the final spot in the Chamber match. And he said he had a problem with the Fiend, but he took care of it by setting the Fiend on fire. However, he still cannot focus because of Alexa Bliss. And before he could say anything else, we had a Papa Shango moment where he started coughing up this black goo, blood or whatever it was. Yeah, the first thing I thought of was when Papa Shango put that voodoo curse on the Ultimate Warrior back in the day, back in '92. I guess either the Fiend or Alexa Bliss, somebody got a hold of Papa Shango and put that voodoo curse on Randy Orton. That would be cool, though, to see Papa Shango make a cameo on one of these shows and get him in the storyline just for fun. Why not? Brian Spencer with a $3 super chat. Thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate it. He says, We all know that Papa Shango was behind that. He very well could have been. Would not shock me if Papa Shango has been teaching Alexa Bliss the dark arts and maybe even giving some pointers to the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Weird segment here for sure. And, still no Fiend, but we got, 47 days now until WrestleMania. There is still time to get the Fiend back for that match with Randy Orton and have the final build. You don't want to peak too soon. You don't want to have the Fiend show up and then you got 6 more weeks where you got to kill time. You got to bring him back at the right moment, right before WrestleMania, maybe a week or two, maybe 2 weeks, and then you could have a final confrontation on the go-home show. But yeah, I think you want to hold off the Fiend until right before WrestleMania. Hell, maybe Fiend doesn't even show up until WrestleMania, and you keep it a surprise, kind of like 2004 with Kane and The Undertaker. Undertaker did not actually show up until WrestleMania. But yeah, most likely after Fastlane, as Brandon points out in the chat room. We had a tag team match, Charlotte and Asuka versus Nia Jax and Shayna Bazer, because why not? You had the heels going after Asuka's arm. Charlotte, though, got the hot tag, put on the figure 4, but Nia Jax came in with a leg drop. Asuka tagged back in, and then there was a miscommunication. Charlotte kicked Asuka by mistake, which led to Nia Jax pinning Asuka with the leg drop. Asuka still looking weak as champion, but whatever. And then Charlotte walked to the back, and she had this conversation with her dad backstage. She said that she cannot focus anymore because of him. She doesn't think what he's doing is funny, pretending to be the father of Lacey Evans' child. She asked him to please go home. Rick said that he never said the baby was his, and all he was doing was trying to help Lacey Evans. He saw potential in a good human being. And Lacey said that Rick is like that with every blonde. Rick said he just thought he could help Lacey like he helped Charlotte. He was just trying to expand the brand. And Charlotte responded to this by saying that she thinks Ric Flair just wants to be the nature boy on her time. And again, asked him to go home. She said she's thankful for everything that he's done, but he needs to let her be Charlotte Flair. And then she walked away. We had Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus, which was a fine match, but we've seen them feuding over the past year, and it's kind of overplayed. Jeff went for the twist of fate. He hit it, but then he tried to go for the swanton, was unsuccessful. He went for a roll-up, got a near fall, but then Sheamus came back with the knee to the face and then hit a bro kick to pick up the 1-2-3 victory. Jeff Hardy, once again, in putting over other people mode. I think WrestleMania will be the turnaround of that, of course, when he probably comes back with no more words and gets the big babyface pop and we get the renewed Jeff Hardy push. 50-50 booking. He'll probably beat Sheamus after WrestleMania. We had another tag team match with the ladies. Lana and Naomi against Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. No entrance for Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. You guys know what that means. Pretty much a squash, and sure enough, it was a fast one. You had Nia Jax and Shayna Bazer watching in the back, but yeah. Short match here. Naomi pinned Mandy Rose. Yeah, pretty much just a squash match. I feel bad for Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, you know. They were getting a bit of a push for a while, and now, well, that appears to be the end of it. Like, can you ever just bring in some enhancement people, indie wrestlers or whatever, to do these quick squash matches? Like, you have a weak enough tag team division as it is, and you're ruining the chance of any team getting over by just having them lose in 2-minute matches. We had AJ Styles versus Ricochet. Speaking of glorified squash matches, they had a really good match last month. This one was not as good. It was quicker, didn't go as long. Ricochet did get a few near falls, but then he was unable to hit the recoil. Styles hit the Styles Clash to pick up the win. And after the match, Omos came in, and he was wearing this turtleneck, by the way, which reminded me of when Batista would wear the turtleneck. Omos slammed Ricochet after the match, and I feel like this match and the Jeff Hardy Sheamus match was just to get the heels a little bit of momentum after losing at Elimination Chamber, and that's the purpose of what these matches were meant to be. We then had our main event of the evening, which was Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. And by the way, David Estevez with a $2 super chat says, AJ versus Riddle at WrestleMania, book it. Would not shock me if that's the match for the U.S. title. I would like to see Riddle versus Goldberg personally, just because I'm intrigued about how that match would go down. And it would be a nice elevation for Riddle to get to work with Goldberg. But if Goldberg's not showing up, AJ Styles is fine for that role. So Strowman versus Lashley, and you had Miz coming out to do commentary. Lashley avoided the Strowman Express and got the upper hand, but then he was unable to get the Hurt Lock on. Strowman hit the Power Slam, but Lashley kicked out. And Miz was shocked. Miz was on commentary. He was shocked by this. Lashley then hit a very impressive spine buster on Strowman and then hit the spear to beat Strowman clean. Bobby Lashley beat Braun Strowman clean. I think that confirms Lashley's in the main event at WrestleMania against McIntyre. Like, Lashley has been booked like a monster, but when he beats Braun Strowman clean on Raw, I mean, it's clear that's the direction now. I have no doubt that Lashley's in the main event at WrestleMania. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, when will Omos take a bump? He just stands there. Who knows at this point? Who knows if he's even going to have a match or if he's just going to be Diesel circa 1993 as long as WWE feels that he has any value. And then once he doesn't have value, he just disappears. It's hard to say. And looking at the comments here, MVP Kev says, I like Lashley's booking. He's getting the title. Pretty good chance. And after the match was over, Miz tried to attack Lashley. That backfired. He got hit with the spine buster, and then he got the spear courtesy of Bobby Lashley. And then Lashley held up the championship to close out the show. Dr. NXT Scorpio says Lashley is looking great. And the game is on 100 with a $5 super chat says, I cannot wait for Lashley to squash that annoying loudmouth Miz ass for the WWE title. We all know Miz cannot back up what he is shoveling. And like I said earlier, I feel like it's almost too obvious that Lashley is going to beat Miz. That I'm almost thinking we are going to get some kind of swerve. And as Jose Garza says in the chat, maybe McIntyre interferes and we get a fastlane triple threat match. And they stretch it out a little bit longer. But I feel like it's too obvious that Lashley wins the title next week. He might, though. But we do have Fastlane, so there could be some kind of swerve or interference in that title match. David Estevez with a $2 super chat, thank you, David, says, I hope Bobby Lashley gets a lengthy run, amazing build-up. For sure. Now, I'm still thinking that there's a good chance McIntyre gets it back at WrestleMania to recreate the feel-good moment that he was supposed to have last year with fans this time. Raw was all right. I really enjoyed the Lashley stuff. The Lashley stuff has been great. The Orton thing was kind of lame in my opinion. And you had a bunch of matches that really did not do much to build up WrestleMania. So I think I'm going to go with a C plus this week. If you're going to watch anything from Raw, I would say watch the Lashley stuff. The main event, maybe the promo at the beginning, in the middle, or the beginning of the second hour. But other than that, I think it was a pretty skippable Raw, quite frankly. You didn't really miss too much storyline development. Brian Spencer with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. He says, Strowman did not help himself by not selling the earlier attack from the knee more. His selling skills are even worse than his mic skills. Ouch. I think that might be the savage line of the night. And Strowman did kick out of the spear after the 3 count. So I guess that was his way of saving face a little bit, that he kicked out, but just a split second too late. MVP Kev with a C+, Jose with a B, Mike B with a C, CC Drink with a C+, and the Game is on 100 with a C+ as well. Tic Tat Tat with a B-, and Elon Brown says Raw gets a C, and Kevin gives it a D. King Alex with a $2 super chat. Thank you very much for that, King Alex. I appreciate it. Says, The Rock versus Stone Cold, top 5 all-time feud, and why? Oh, yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the box office for one thing. Rock and Austin was box office gold. And you had 2 top personalities going back and forth on the mic and in the ring. They had tremendous chemistry together and created a lot of memorable moments. And they could just have a straight up wrestling match. They could brawl. They could do all sorts of things. Definitely a top 5 feud of all time. I mean, how many guys had 3 WrestleMania matches against each other? Not too many people. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. Says, Lashley turns 45 this year. How crazy is that? That is very impressive. Lashley, the dude does not age. He looks practically the same as he did in 2006 during his first WWE run. If you're going to put the title on him, now is the time to pull the trigger. And again, I'm very happy that Lashley is finally getting this big push. The only thing we need now is Lashley versus Lesnar. That's the match fans have been wanting to see for years, and we haven't gotten it. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Oofman. Very much appreciated. He says, WWE usually does some spring cleaning after WrestleMania. Who do you see, unfortunately or fortunately, getting released? Well, first of all, I do not want to see anybody lose their job that wants their job. But for anybody that wants to go, I think WWE should let them go. If somebody in WWE is unhappy, thinks there's a better opportunity in AEW or Japan or even Impact Wrestling, let them go. Now, if I was going to predict it, anybody who's not on TV right now. Somehow Bo Dallas is still under contract, but apparently he is preparing for life after wrestling. Would not surprise me if he's cut. He's one of the next ones to go. Maybe some of the 205 Live guys, just the people you never see on TV. Aleister Black might end up being cut, although the only reason I don't see him being cut is that TNA or AEW would pick him up in a heartbeat. But then again, look at Miro. Look how crappy Miro has been in AEW. He's done nothing. So WWE should not be worried about Aleister Black going to AEW and becoming a main event superstar. I don't know if AEW could pull it off. King Alex with a $2 super chat says, will WWE ever be as big as it was in the 1990s? Probably not. I would say highly unlikely in all likelihood. Would I like it to be? Of course, but you really would need lightning in a bottle. You would need that next Steve Austin or Hulk Hogan. And there's no guy like that on the horizon, as far as I'm concerned, that can be at that level. So, probably not. I don't think wrestling will ever be as mainstream as it was in the 90s. Just, I cannot see it right now. There may be another period where WWE is doing pretty well, AEW is doing pretty well, and wrestling's pretty hot, but don't see it in the near future, at least. David Estevez with a $2 super chat says, WWE messed up by not pushing MVP on SmackDown. Great work. They did push him a bit, but yeah, I think the problem was once he turned babyface, his character got very watered down, and that was the beginning of the end for him. I remember he had this losing streak, and then he turned face, and he was kind of just there for a few years, and then that was the end of his run. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. Says, what are your thoughts on the Stone Cold Steve Austin Sasha Banks interview? Also, if Edge, Christian, and Daniel Bryan can come back, so can Paige. I have not seen the Sasha Banks interview yet. My network subscription actually expired after the pay-per-view, and I had to find a gift card to renew it, and I'm not even sure if that'll go through with the whole Peacock transition, but I do plan on watching that soon. And as far as Paige coming back, I think she's keeping the hope that she can come back one day. And hell, Sting with his neck taking a power bomb at 62 years old from Brian Cage, I think there's a possibility. I would say never with Paige, and there's always a possibility she can come back. Do not rule it out 100%. And King Alex with a $2 super chat says, remember the cool Austin Rock promos? My way. Absolutely. That was maybe the best video package ever for a WrestleMania match, in my opinion. Best usage of Limp Bizkit, perhaps in the history of the planet Earth. But yeah, that was a great setup for WrestleMania. Awesome videos. Loved it. Very well done. All right, everybody. So that's all I got for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. Again, youtube.com/AaronRift, Subscribe, turn on notifications for updates, and stay tuned to the NoDQ.com website for the latest news and rumors. I will see you guys